Hey guys, welcome to my channel BitGlenn. My name's Glenn and I like to share with you what I learn in the world of cryptocurrency as I go through it. So today I have a really special guest with me today, and that is
Tyler!
My 10-year-old son Tyler. But Tyler, before we get into today's main video, what should the viewers be doing?
They should smash that like button and they should smash that subscribe button.
That's right, Tyler, they should. Well done. So the reason I've actually got Tyler with me today was because we're going to make a stake that is going to pay out the day that he turns 21. How do you feel about that, Tyler?
Happy.
Happy. But you're probably wondering, why Hex? Why stake for so long? Well, let's get into today's video and find out. So hey guys, thanks for watching my video today. Again, like Tyler said, smash that like button and click the subscribe button if you're new to this channel. But before we get into today's main topic, and before Tyler has to go off and have his bath and do his homework or whatever his mum's going to get him to do, I'm going to ask him some questions, because I've referred to my sons in the past in videos and I've sort of almost gave their opinions for them through my videos. So I actually thought it'd be a good idea to actually invite Tyler on so he can actually talk us through what his views are on Bitcoin and cryptocurrency. So Tyler, I'll ask you. All right? What is it you ask me every morning when we're having breakfast?
Has Hex gone up in price?
Why do you ask me what the price of Hex is, but you don't ask me what the price of other things are?
Because Hex it's small right now and it's really cheap and you can get so much for a penny right now. Whereas Bitcoin, you can get, it's like loads of money just to buy one Bitcoin. Whereas Hex, you can buy so much of it just for the price of a penny.
Okay, so because you can get more of it, you prefer the Hex over the Bitcoin. If I had to give you an option of having loads and loads of Hex versus a small amount of Bitcoin, but they would be worth about the same sort of money, which one would you prefer?
The Hex.
The Hex? Why's that?
Because I believe Hex will really go up in price by a little rocket, and then it will...
Like a rocket?
Yeah.
What made you think that?
It's just first thing that came to my head and it will just shoot up like a rocket.
It's funny actually, because people in cryptocurrency always say, oh, this is going to the moon, and they always use a little rocket, so it's funny that you've said that. Okay, so if I was to say to you, right, Tyler, I'm going to either, I've got £150, yeah? I'm going to put this in a little envelope and you can have it when you're 21.
Yep.
Or would you prefer me to buy you £150 worth of Hex now? Or would you prefer me to buy you £150 worth of Bitcoin now? Which one would you prefer?
I prefer the £150 of Hex.
You reckon?
Yep.
What if I was to say to you, I can set up an account that would mature when you're 21 that would automatically invest money into the stocks and shares market for you?
Yes.
What, instead of Bitcoin or Hex?
No, I would like to keep the Hex.
Okay, so if I was to say to you, right, Tyler, I'm going to either, I've got £150, I'm going to put this in a little envelope and you can have it when you're 21.
Yep.
Or would you prefer me to buy you £150 worth of Hex now? Or would you prefer me to buy you £150 worth of Bitcoin now? Which one would you prefer?
I prefer the £150 of Hex.
You reckon?
Yep.
Tyler, if I had the £150, what if I was to put that into an account that it automatically invests it into the stocks and shares market for you?
I don't really know what that is.
What, you don't know what stocks and shares market is? Okay. If I was to put it in simpler terms, what if I was to put the £150 and put it and buy some shares of another business for you?
Yeah.
Would you like that?
Yeah, I'd like that.
So what about gold or silver? Would you like me to buy you £150 worth of gold or silver?
Yes.
You can't touch these until you're 21 though. Yeah, so out of all the options I've gave you, so that's Hex, Bitcoin, silver, gold, stocks and shares, I can set you up an ISA account. Which one of those really excites you the most?
Hex.
There you go. So Tyler, before you go, is there anything you want to ask me or the people of YouTube before your mum makes you have a bath or do whatever you're doing?
Yes.
What?
When I'm older, can I have one of your metal cards lately, please?
One of my metal cards?
Mhm.
You're talking about, what, this one?
Yeah.
No.
No.
Maybe when you're older. Right, that's it. So, give me a high five actually. So, alright. See you later.
Bye.
Say goodbye to everyone.
Bye, humans.
That's it. Well done. So that was my son Tyler at the age of 10. He turns 11 pretty soon. But it was interesting to ask him questions about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, stocks and shares. And as we all know, in schools they don't teach any of this stuff. They don't teach stocks and shares, how to grow your wealth, compounding interest. So he's unaware of all of it. But what he has got is a dad that talks about cryptocurrency through YouTube. Now, he actually watched one of my live streams where I was talking about staking Hex for a long time. If you guys watch my videos regularly, you probably know what one I'm talking about. And the next day he said, "Oh, Dad, that Hex thing you was talking about, how comes it's so cheap?" And I said, "What do you mean?" He goes, you said it was like under a penny." And I said, "Yeah." And he said, "What? So if I've got £1, how many can I buy?" And I said, "Oh, you could probably buy like 200 of them." And that blew his mind. He was like, "Whoa." And he said, "Well, what if they went up to like $1 each or £1 each?" And I said, "God, if they went up to £1 each, I'd be rich." And he said, "Why is that?" I said, "Well, I've got about 300,000 of them." I said, "So that would buy a house outright." So I think he was a bit excited by then. So that obviously there's a little bit of bias there. But I found it interesting that I've got 4 boys and a girl. And I asked them all, not the girl, she's only like 2. You know, if I was to put some money aside, someone in my YouTube comment section put, "Glenn, you should put $100 worth of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency aside for them for their 18th or 21st birthday," which was a really good idea. And I think it's a really good gesture, especially if the price goes up loads. You always hear people saying, "Oh, my dad or my granddad invested in gold or stocks or shares or Apple or Amazon when it was really early and now it's worth loads of money." And you always hear good stories like that. And I hope that in the world of cryptocurrency we hear stories like that in the future. So I thought, what if I was to invest sort of 1 Ethereum's worth into Hex for him, but rather than just storing it on a ledger or a third-party company, what if I was to actually stake it for him? Now, in terms of the staking power, I did a video recently talking about how the longer you stake for, the more Hex shares that you have. Forget the token price, I'm talking about the shares in the ecosystem of the staking side of it. So it's very weighted to people that stake longer. The longer you stake an amount for, the more gains you will have, especially towards the end of your staking term. The amount of gains that you'll be getting each day will far outpace what you invested at the beginning. Now that's obviously in terms of getting your Hex back. I don't know what the price of Hex will be in the future, but even if it was to stay the same as it is today, obviously in 21 years time he's gained a lot more Hex for his money that I invested. So I put this forward to him. He said he would like to do that. Now I actually said in a previous video that I personally was going to do a longer stake, sort of a 10 or 12 year stake. And when I sat back and thought about it, I was thinking, oh, do you know what? I don't really want money tied up for that long. And that's not because I don't believe in the project and I'm just looking for a quick buck. I've actually staked all my Hex for about 7-8 months. It's just that I have plans outside of cryptocurrency. And some of you that watch my content regularly may know what that is, some of you may not. But I don't want to get into too much of that right now. But I have plans that I want to sort of pursue and sort of fulfill within the next sort of 3 to 5 years. Staking Hex for 10 years doesn't fit in with that plan for me. It doesn't fit in with my exit strategy. So for me, it doesn't make sense. But who is someone who has 10, 12 years on his side? You know, he doesn't care if the price goes up or down or left or right or whatever. And that is obviously one of the kids. Now, I know in the UK, when you turn 18, you're considered an adult. But as we all know, if we was given a big chunk of money when we was 18, we're going to spend it on things that typically 18-year-olds spend their money on. 21 seems to be more sort of you're going traveling, or you're looking to buy your first house, or you've just had a child, or maybe you're expecting one on the way, you've got a serious girlfriend. So your plans are a little bit more mature, I suppose, than say someone who's still in their teens. That's my opinion. You may disagree with that, but that's just my view. So I said to him, what if I was to put a stake of Hex on for him? And I explained very simply that every day that you have your stake in this account, it will get bigger. So by the time you're 21, it will be very big. And he was like, yep, I'm all for it. He was really excited about it. And he was like, yeah. And he asked me every day how much the price of Hex is anyway. Here we are. Let's get into the video. So I'm just gonna make my fat head little so we can see the screen. Hex.live, this is all my personal day. As you guys know, I had about 302,000 Hex. Total Hex now has gone up by about 10,000 Hex, and that's because obviously I've been staking all my coins. You can see here that the price of Hex has been dropping. It was about 0.0045, now it's 3.2. So it's dropped quite a bit, which is good because obviously we're looking to buy some today and we're going to get more in our return. You can see here the average stake has actually gone up to 4.57 years. So people are really taking this staking longer seriously. And if we have a little look at the league that I'm in, so if I click view more, and we go down to these leagues, you can see here that the total shares, this isn't coins, this isn't token price, this is the amount of shares that I have. I have 32 trillion shares. Every day the shares are getting more expensive. They always go up in price. That's built into the algorithm of the cryptocurrency. So if I was to end all my stakes today and I was to, with the exact same amount of Hex, rebuy or restake them all again, I wouldn't get 32 trillion shares. I would get, let's just say, for example, 28 trillion shares. And obviously over time, if you imagine that over a year, 2 years, 3 years, that's going to get less and less and less and less, to the point where you may only get 3.2 trillion or even 1 trillion. So it makes sense to stake now for a long period of time, because then you're benefiting from that 32 trillion shares the whole length of your stake. So if I stake for 10 years, I will have 32 trillion. That's just like a simple explanation of the shares price. I done a video about it the other day. I would suggest you go and watch that video, and I explain it a bit better and the actual price per share. I don't want to get too much into that today, but for someone like obviously Tyler, who's only 10 years old and he knows that he can't touch this money until he's 21, he's going to benefit massively from getting a decent share ratio for his tokens. So you can see here at the moment I'm an oily octopus, which means that I get a decent percentage of the total supply. So every single day that Hex ticks over, any coins that were made or put into the system due to people emergency end staking and getting their penalty fees, they get shared out between everyone. The inflation, that gets shared out between everyone. So you then end up with a certain percentage every single day. Obviously you want as much of that as possible to really maximize your return. So let's go over to the AA lobby. So you can see here today we're on day 187 out of 351, so we're well over the halfway mark now. As always, there's 510 million Hex that are being generated today, and the amount of Ethereum that has been put into the pot for today's reward is 11,017 Ethereum. So that would give you a Hex Ethereum ratio of 46,350. Now, if you use a link, and I've explained this many times, if you use someone's referral link, you actually get an extra 10% on top of that. So let's just have a look what we would actually get. So we would get 46,350 plus 10%, which is 4,635. So that would give us 50,985. So 51,000, you might as well say. So if you are going to be sending any Ethereum to this, there is actually a link in the description down below. If I was you, I would recommend doing that because it doesn't cost you anything. I do get a kickback from it, but you get the extra 10% on top. So it's in your best interest to do it. If you don't want to do it, that's entirely up to you. I'm actually choosing to use Uniswap. Now, they've just had Uniswap version 2 come out. So this is their new updated one, but I believe there is a little bit of issue. Sometimes when you put one Ethereum in here, it actually comes up with an error message saying that there isn't enough liquidity at the moment. So I've actually left it a little while to actually do this video. Okay, so currently for 1 Ethereum I'm going to get 73,487 hex. So I'm happy with that. We're going to click swap and we have the price, the minimum cent, price impact, liquidity provider fee. So this is the fee that you pay for Uniswap, so just bear that in mind. You pay that in Ethereum. So we're going to confirm swap. That's going to bring up our MetaMask notification and ask us to confirm this transaction. Now, for the purposes of this video, I'm actually going to make this a fast transaction and click confirm. So we'll just wait for that to confirm. The transaction is pending. So that says that it's now confirmed, and we have our hex in our balance. We're going to go over to the transform page and we're going to click stake. So we got about 73,000, let's do 614 hex tokens. Now we're going to do stake length in days. So his birthday's in 54 days time. So we're going to do 54 plus, there's 365 days in a year, times that by 10. So that means he'll be 21. That's 3,704 days. So let's type that in, 3,704 days. This gives me the longer pays better bonus of 147,000. So already if he actually sees that through, he's gonna triple the amount of hex that he's got. Then you got the bigger pays better. So obviously this isn't a huge amount. It's only about $250 worth, $230 worth, something like that, whatever the price of 1 Ethereum is at the moment. A lot of people are like, when's the best time to get in hex and when should I buy some? The way that hex works, if you're willing to wait long enough, you can get in at any time at any price point and you would probably still see a really good return. So it says here that my effective hex is going to be 220,000 hex. And then we have the share rate. So you can see here that that stake there, because I'm staking it for so long, I'm actually going to get 21 trillion shares. Now, if we go back to obviously my shares, I've got 32 and I've got 312,000 hex or something like that staked. So I've got 6 times this amount. But my share price is not that much higher. It's only probably a third higher than what that is there. So you're really gaining the share value because you're staking for longer. Plus, because obviously it's the big payday, it looks like he's get 400,000 hex there. So this is going to be a huge amount of hex that he's going to accumulate by the time he's 21. Now that is going to fit in with his lifestyle and his choices then. Obviously for me it doesn't fit in, so I'm actually going to put this pot aside, and I've actually shown the kids, or Tyler in particular, how he can access this website and actually mint the coins that are on there, and I've gave him the username and passwords for my MetaMask wallet, so he will be able to access this if anything ever happens to me, or you know, if I don't see it that long, he can come on and he can mint those tokens himself when he turns 21. So let's go ahead and stake that. So that's just over 10-year stake. Again, it's going to ask us to confirm the transaction. We're going to make it the fastest one, which is 59 cents. So as you can see, that is now confirmed. And if we go down to our stakes, we've got pending stakes. So this will start as of tomorrow or 1 in the morning, because that's when in the UK it ticks over to the next day for hex. But you can see here, this is now, I think, one of my largest stakes, because if you look at my largest one, which is 200,000 hex, I'm getting 21 trillion shares. But Tyler, for the sake of 73,000, which is 3 to 4 times smaller the amount of principal, he's getting pretty much the same amount of shares, 21 trillion. Plus his effective payday is the same as what I have for that 200,000 stake. So yeah, he's going to accumulate more hex in this staking account than I am in any of my other ones. So that's good news for Tyler. He can wait that long. He's happy to wait that long. And even if it goes to 0, it just means silly old bugger dad has lost $200 or about 180 quid worth of cash 10 years ago. Or if it goes to 1 cent, 2 cent, 5 cents, 30 cents, $1, then he's going to be a very, very happy bunny when he turns 21. So that's really it from me, guys. Don't forget, if you do want to take part in this, you can use my link in the description down below to gain 10% extra on your AA transform. But always check out the Uniswap app. I would rather you get a better deal than use my referral link. So just make sure you check out both and see what works out best for you. Don't forget, when you're doing these staking, to think of your exit strategy. How long do you want to wait for? How long are you willing to wait? How long do you want your money tied up for? What are you going to do with that money when it gets to a price that you think it's going to get to and you've accumulated that amount of hex? What are you going to then do with those tokens going forward? Always have the end in mind at the beginning, because then it sets you up for the outcome and it is more likely to come true. If you think that hex is going to go to, you know, some people do, they think it's going to go to $1, $5, $1,000. You know, you always get these people online that say these crazy things, and if you honestly believe that to be true, fair play to you. But you should then be saying, okay, well, how long do I think is it going to take to get to that point? Because I want to stake for that long, if not longer. If you feel that this is going to dump after the big payday, then maybe you should take your stake out a few days before. Maybe you should take it out a few days after. Obviously, that's entirely up to you. I'm not offering any financial advice, but I'm offering you the best financial advice that I have been given, and that is always think of the end first. That's it from me, guys. Don't forget to smash up the like button. Click subscribe if you're new to this channel. And I'll see you on the next video from Bitcoin. Bye, guys.